Hello, everyone. Welcome to this meeting of the South Kingstown Town Council. It is Monday, June 10th. The time is 7:30. The first item of business, as always, is a pledge to the flag. This evening, we're joined by a special guest, and Carolyn Parente is going to lead us in the pledge to the flag. So please join us. Thank you. Don't go too far. We just have a couple items to get out of the way. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Council President Collins.
Here.
Council Vice President DeCruz. Here. Councilwoman Kelso.
Here.
Councilman McAtee.
Here.
Councilman Vealy.
Here.
All members present.
And we can do these 4 and 5 in a second. I'm going to bring forward 12A at this point, which is under new business, a resolution adopting a proclamation honoring Caroline Parente for being crowned Miss Rhode Island Outstanding Teen. And it reads as follows. Whereas Caroline Parente is a junior at South Kingstown High School, holding the office of class treasurer, and is involved with the drama and choral programs. And whereas Caroline was recently crowned Miss Rhode Island Outstanding Teen and has been awarded a scholarship to further her education, she plans to major in pre-law and political science and hopes to attend Columbia University or Oxford. And whereas pageant participants have to promote a social impact initiative, Caroline is a youth trainer for the Community Anti-Drug Coalitions of America, an international drug prevention coalition, and has traveled around the country to help youth develop action plans and confidence to implement community-wide positive change. And whereas Caroline will represent the state of Rhode Island in the Miss America's Outstanding Teen competition this July in Orlando, Florida, now therefore, we, the Town Council of the Town of South Kingstown, do hereby extend our congratulations to Caroline Parente and wish her success at the national competition. And if I could have a motion on that resolution.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Item 12. 12A.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries unanimously. If Caroline would like to say any words at this point, you're welcome to. If not, I don't want to put you on the spot, but...
You,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. All right. Well, let's go back to the beginning. And item 4 is the approval of minutes of previous meetings.
Motion to approve 4A and B. Second.
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries as well. Item 5 is the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Second.
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries as well. Item 6, licenses. 6A is a resolution granting a victualling license to BOL Corporation, doing business as BOL, that may be Ball, of 318 Main Street, subject to approval by the Director of Public Services, Wastewater Superintendent, and the Rhode Island Department of Health. Application by Alex Tillett, President 3 Rocky Road. Is Alex here?
Aye.
Excuse me.
Hello.
Hi. Hello. Welcome. So tell us about BOL, or tell me how to pronounce it.
It's it's BOL. It's pronounced Bowl. My name is Alex Tillett. I just moved to South Kingstown about a year ago from Cape Cod. Bowl's been in business in Cape Cod, Outer Cape, Wellfleet for This will be our 5th year. It is a superfood cafe specializing in smoothies, smoothie bowls, acai bowls, superfood lattes, basically a healthy living cafe, all organic, all vegan.
All right. Any questions for Alex?
So 318 is kind of across from Phil's somewhere, I'm thinking?
It's right across from All That Matters.
Okay.
Yeah, the old glass blowing building.
Next to Berkeley's on the left.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a great little spot.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I feel honored to be in that space.
And you still have operations on the Cape as well?
I do, yes. That operates seasonally 4 months out of the year. So we're opening that up next week and hopefully getting South Kingstown opened up as soon as possible.
Motion to approve 6A?
Second.
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And that brings us to 7, communications. And 7G is a resolution adopted May 13th, 2019 by the North Smithfield Town Council. This is in support of full funding of the state enhanced 911 emergency response system. It's been received and placed on file. What are we going to do with it?
You know, in a lot of cases, we just put requests from other municipalities on file. In this case, I think it's an important feature to enable, being that most people are now using only cell phones. I think it's an important enhancement that would help our community when there's an emergency for somebody. So I would like to offer a resolution that we support the... Is there a letter on this?
We can just format that and put
Okay.
South Kingstown in where north.
Sure.
So there's a motion.
Yep.
Do I hear a second?
This resolution just speaks to the formation of a study commission to look at this. This resolution doesn't call for the implementation of a different formula for the funds. It's just calling for a study commission. I'm in favor of it, but I just want you to understand, what this is looking at.
Baby steps. All right. I hear.
That's a second.
Yeah. Okay. Second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries. And it brings us to item 8, comments from interested citizens. Is there anyone here tonight who would like to say something?
Good evening. I'm Carol Englander, and I direct the SMILE program. And I came here specifically to thank each and every one of the town council members for supporting the SMILE program. Everyone is excited about starting another year, and we couldn't have done it without you. So I absolutely appreciate everything you've done. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any comments up here at the table? All right.
The only thing I would add is that, we were thanked for what we did for the SMILES program, but I think the council really appreciates what the SMILE program does for the community. And I truly believe that the kids and families that you help appreciate it even more. So it's a program that's been around for a long time, and I'm glad that we could make it work on our end when it didn't work on the other end.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Town manager's report.
So we went over most of these items during the work session. I won't belabor them here, but I will point out for the council and for the public at home, the report is available online. And there are a couple of things here that are worth noting. The tax rate for the next fiscal year has been set at $14.45 per $1,000 of value on real estate. The Boy Scout conservation easement, the property that was purchased by the South Kingstown Land Trust with assistance that the town council provided last year. That easement has been executed, and it's my understanding that the transaction is completed and the property is now conserved and will be available for the public to access at some point in the near future. Other noteworthy stuff. Senior services statistics for this year versus last year. Again, this is the trend that we've seen with senior services, the demand for services at the senior center and services being requested by members of the community are increasing, and that is true for the nutrition program, the fitness classes, and the transportation for errands and to the center. So both all three, transportation services, fitness participation, and nutrition program participation are up significantly year over year again. We've seen that with all of the programs. It's just worth noting. And a while ago, I had tried to show this map to the council, and we were having some difficulty with the screen the night that we tried to put this up, so I'm bringing it back. This is a hot map that demonstrates where real estate values increased the most in South Kingstown, with the last revaluation just completed earlier this year. The red are the locations where real estate values increased above the average increase in town. Blue are places where the real estate values increased below the average increase in town. So we can see the Route 2 corridor, High Street, and really all the way up Kingston Road. What it looks like is that the most modest properties saw the greatest increase in value, which isn't surprising, but it's interesting to see it depicted in this way. And that's the manager's report.
Excuse me, Rob, what is at the very, very bottom?
This is down here?
Yeah.
Matunic.
Okay.
I like that one little house on Cards Pond there. There at the at Moonstone Beach.
There are. I mean, obviously, all statistical analysis methods have their limitations. This is by no means, the be-all and end-all of representations of the increase in values. Matunic is a sort of funny grouping here because you have both. Is it Blackberry Hill, and the Carpenter's properties. So you end up with a really strange, increase because you had a low base, or increase because you had some large transactions on properties that hadn't been sold in many years. It's, again, nothing is perfect, but that one in particular is a funny neighborhood because of the diversity of housing.
Good. It's an interesting map. Solicitor? Okay. Well, we're cruising right along. I do think there is one appointment or reappointment tonight for the rec.
I'll make a resolution to reappoint David Palizzetti to the Recreation Commission for a term to expire June of 2022.
Second.
So moved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And a second resolution to reappoint Pastor Keith McNamara to the South Kingstown Partnership for Prevention for a term to expire also June 2022.
Second that as well.
So moved. All in favor, say aye.
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 And these guys are back. All right. And that brings us to item 12D, which is a resolution authorizing an award of bid to Tom Irwin, Inc., of Burlington, Mass. for the purchase of turf management supplies and consulting services in accordance with all specifications and unit pricing for a 3-year period with an option to extend for 2 additional years, and as further described in a memo from the park superintendent to the town manager dated June 4th.
Make a motion that we approve item 12D.
Second.
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries. 12F is a resolution authorizing an award of bid for mechanical service contracts for a 2-year term from July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2021 for electrical, plumbing, carpentry, and painting services to the following, in accordance with the terms and conditions of the bid specifications at the prices below, and as further described in a memo from the facility superintendent to the town manager. And I'll let you look at those numbers yourself on the agenda. Do I hear a motion on this? Do we need anybody to speak to this item?
Make a motion that we approve item 12F.
Second.
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries. 12G is a resolution endorsing the Noise Farm Open Space Management Plan and directing the implementation of said plan, including consideration for funding through the Capital Improvement Program, further described in a memo from the principal planner to the town manager dated June 5th.
And Mr. President, if I may, we have the consultant who produced this report in the room tonight. She'd like to walk the council through a brief presentation.
I'm going to start quickly. So I'm Kayla Gray, Principal Planner, and I wanted to just give a little introduction to our presenter, and then I'm going to get the slides going for them so that things move smoothly for us all tonight. But I just wanted to give a little overview on the background because the consultant's presentation will focus on what we're calling the preferred development plan, the idea of where the property goes from here. So just for the information of everybody at home or wherever you may be, in 2006, the town purchased the land. We put together open space fees for land acquisition, recreational impact fees, federal and state funding to make it happen. So that's sort of a combination of efforts that pulled together conservation money along with recreation money and tried to figure out how we conserve what is one of the largest undeveloped tracts of land in South Kingstown at the time. The Noise Farm property has about 250 acres of land, a couple of historic home sites, but no current development, so it's a pretty interesting property. In fiscal year 17-18 of the Capital Improvement Program, we worked to, you all actually worked to give $20,000 towards the development of this plan. So with that, the contract was given to Applied Bioscience with a bunch of systems, my apologies, Linda, along with a few other consultants to develop the plan, and they've been working since March of 2018 to that end to come up with what is a plan to develop the property that has a light touch, is focused on conservation, and also gives some passive recreational opportunities in that area of town.
So I'm going to make sure everyone can hear me, too. I don't talk loudly, and this is a godsend. We did bring a poster while Kayla's bringing up the
And if I can just ask,
PowerPoint. And I don't know if you can see it as well, but it's the entire, showing the entire property.
can I, before you get into it, can I ask you to say your name for the record?
Oh, sorry. Linda Steer. I'm the principal at Applied Biosystems. And as Kayla said, we've been working on this since about a year ago, March. And we're kind of happy to be here and present it to the town council. And again, you know, maybe after you'll have a chance to come up and look at the poster. I'm amazed that we're already on. I've never seen such a quick town council meeting.
Normally, they're not this quick.
Yeah. But anyway, so we'll proceed with a very quick overview of the project. As Kayla said, you know, this was purchased by the town back in 2006. We've been looking for presenting some low-impact recreational opportunities. It's a beautiful 200 and some acre parcel, and as we were exploring it over the past year, we realized that not only were there a lot of natural items on the site, but also a lot of cultural resources from the Noyes family who originally lived on the property. And so we've been trying to evolve a plan that would include some cultural resources, perhaps provide some areas that youth groups could use for educational purposes, and also to provide more hiking trails in South Kingston for the populace. It's 248 acres, and it's pretty much located in an area that's wooded. Even the neighboring properties are pretty much all wooded. It's the main entrance would be off Route 138, and just to give you a little orientation, to the north, that kind of white L-shaped building is the Kingston Hill Academy, and to the almost directly west at the top end of the property is Compass School. So just to orientate you a little bit. The Noyes family used this for timbering and lumbering in the 18 and 1900s, and the family descendants of the Noyes confirmed this information. We wished we knew a little bit more about this. We do know, at least the hearsay is that the lumber from this was used to build the Kingston Congregational Church, and also to provide railroad ties for the railroad in West Kingston. There's a lot of natural features. We've actually observed the spotted salamander and the rose-breasted grosbeak on the site. There's a list of birds cited and plant vegetation identified in the report. A few vernal pools on the property. We've also heard wood frogs out there. And it's probably the largest area of unfragmented forest in the town of South Kingston, maybe other than the Great Swamp area. Mitchell Brook has also contributed a lot to the town's history. It's a tributary to the Saugatucket, and there's a number of smaller tributaries on the property that feed into Mitchell Brook. We believe that it was probably the site of at least a sawmill, if not some other types of mills in the 1800s. A lot of wetlands on the property, and probably about a third of it or more is wetlands. And again, there's some nice natural features out there and some nice ecosystem habitats. Cultural features. There are two historical cemeteries. They're back to back, almost in the center of the property. And one of the trails passes right adjacent to the cemetery. The house on the bottom left is a drawing that was at what used to be the Pettiquamscot Historical Society, that was the Noyes homestead that we believe was on that property. We've been trying to kind of match up the foundations that are out there with that rendering, and but it would be nice at some point to do some archaeological work there. The top right photo is an impoundment on Mitchell Brook, and there's an odd remnant of a stone structure out there too, which we believe might have been an old mill, but we have no confirmation of that. It looks like hunters are kind of using that, or kids, to camp out in right now. So a lot of stone walls. In fact, most of the property lines are stone walls. And besides the Homestead Foundation, there's another foundation in the northern end of the site, and we really don't know what that foundation was for, whether it was a house or workshop. I don't know. Human impacts are quite a number of existing trails, although most of the trails are there because of ATV use. As you can see, there's damage in different spots on the trail because of the ATVs. The upper right corner, it's hard to see, but there's quite a bit of litter and debris there. It looks like that's a good hangout A lot of the foundation stones appear to have been used to create a fireplace, and there's a few lawn chairs out there, as well as a lot of beer cans. The openings in the stone walls, many of them appear that they may be a natural barway to what might have been pastures or timber fields, but some of them look as if they were created probably by the ATVs, and structures is 2 or 3. Deer stands out there kind of along the edges of the property. So there are 3 trails out there that are were pretty much existing, probably because of the ATV use. The yellow one, the blue, and quite a few portions of the red trail are already existing out there. We've proposed to use those with a little bit of enhancement and create a purple trail up in the northern end that may eventually connect to a parking area somewhere on the northern end of the property. It allows about 3 miles of trails and various loops so that if someone, depending on their expertise or how much energy they have that day, could choose to do several different loops on the property and actually cover most of the different habitats and visit most of the cultural items on the site. The Red Trail particularly is going to need a DEM wetlands permit to cross a couple of streams, tributary streams, and also probably some bog bridges to get people through the wetter part of the site. We're proposing a parking lot that we hope may be the first phase of the project that will be accessed off 138. And there'd be a kiosk and a map similar to this one, so people could choose their trails and their destinations. Okay, the users. I thought it was great. We were able to find a dog on a leash. We are basically feeling that this property was primarily for hikers and passive recreation, such as photography, bird watching, perhaps snowshoeing and cross-country skiing during the winter if we ever get more snow. Youth groups can use it for workshops or educational areas. And however, we would love to see no ATV use and no horseback riding, just because there's so many wet areas and stream crossings. It probably would be difficult for a horse. We've proposed this in probably 4 phases, starting with the yellow trail, which is the main trail off of 138. It goes north almost through the center of the property. And then the 138 parking lot, which right now there is no access to the site for parking. We did run into some people from Brandywine up 138 to the east who walk there quite regularly and don't need to bring their vehicle. But the yellow trail also passes the 2 cemeteries, and it ends up at the Northern Foundation. The blue trail would be the second, which is on the western side of the property. That blue trail, again, is pretty much existing because of the ATV use. It's in better condition than the yellow trail, but and that passes the homestead site and a vernal pool or 2 also. The red trail on the eastern side is the one that requires several wetland crossings, probably bog bridges, but it also has an amazing view of the watershed of Mitchell Brook and the brook itself, and a very large rock outcrop that is a pretty good view of down the valley of the Mitchell Brook. The purple trail, which would be the new one, doesn't exist at this time, and would have to be developed. We're thinking Phase 3, and then Phase 4 would be the Orange Trail, which actually goes off the property to the north, and hopefully could connect at some time to a second parking area. The budget. I know everybody's excited to know what the budget is. We put a budget together that, again, it occurs in phases. We've phased it by the different colored trails, starting with the yellow. We estimated about $96,000. However, there are grants that can be applied for. DEM has trail and recreational grants, and NRCS, Natural Resource Conservation Service, also has grants for the EQIP, or Environmental Quality Incentives Program, that might be able to help with some of the activities there. And also, I think South Kingston has a great volunteer force between Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, some of the school groups. I think that a lot of the items, say bog bridges, maybe some of the signage, tree identification, could all be done by some of these volunteer groups. And it would also help to engage the community in the project. So, next step, we feel, however, that the parking lot off 138, which is a conceptual drawing on that bottom right, is going to need a wetlands permit because it has to cross a stream before you get onto the property to the parking area, and it would be in conjunction with the yellow trail, which has one stream crossing on it. So that probably is a large part of the budget, is the parking areas, and so you start right off in Phase 1. The trail development and probably is not that costly. There'll be a little trail repair because of the ATV use, one crossing of a stream in the yellow trail, blazing trees so people aren't going to get lost out there, probably creative ways of blocking off some of the existing trails that may go to other residential lots, particularly on the western boundary. But there'll be signage, we hope, both wildlife informational and also "You Are Here" signs that can help you wayfind where you may be and where you want to go. And then finally, we hope with the parking lot and the yellow trail, the property could be opened up to the public, and then phases 2 through 4 could happen sometime after that. So we'd like to thank the town of South Kingston and the Noise Farm Task Force, who have been very helpful, and we'd like to thank them for their vision and making this all happen. So,
Thank you.
if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Do you know what kind of timing there is for the initial wetlands permitting?
You mean timing in order for wetlands to permit it? Or?
The timetable in those first steps, say.
Okay. Well, I guess it all depends on you resolving to go forward with the project. I believe there'd be some engineering to be done, a site plan developed. DEM has a easier process for open space lands in that they don't require as much, shall I say, formal engineering. Often some of that can be done with aerial photos for the trails at least, and plans for bog bridges and what the crossings might look like. They would take about 45 days to process an application once they're happy with it, once it's been submitted and they don't have any deficiency questions.
Sure. Thank you.
So maybe a year overall.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No?
Thank you.
Thank you. we need a,
I'll make a motion to approve 12G.
Second.
so moved. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 And that brings us to the end of the public agenda. We are going to move into closed executive session, so I have to ask you all to leave. I'm sure you're going to do that anyway. Except for Aaron. He's got to stay here, talk to us.
And Mr. President, if I can ask Kerry and John to stay as well.
Very good. All right, we do need a motion to move into closed executive session.
I make a motion that we approve, that we go into executive session. Tell me how to say it. Recess to executive session.
Do we need to use this exact language? Yeah.
You need me to read that? Yeah, I've got it. A closed executive session pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-5A5 to discuss matters related to the acquisition or lease of real property for public purposes or of the disposition of publicly held property wherein advanced public information would be detrimental to the interest of the public.
Second.
So moved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries.